Kendall Slide, Kendall Slide, Kendall Slide, Kendall Slide, Kendall Try, Kendall Try, Kendall Try, Kendall Try. Hey y'all. Welcome back to Caedance. Today's episode is about invoicing. You know what it is, okay? Yeah, so we're doing invoicing because in my years of experience, I have learned that a lot of people don't know what an invoice is and how to send one. So I have I've actually helped some people, like when they were literally invoicing me or when I was working with, like how to explain what an invoice was, how it works. And similar to my other videos, I'm like, that's fine to do that on a one-off, but why not make a video in case it's helpful to somebody else? Similar to the rest of this video series, this is typically for basically anyone that is having a side hustle or a hustle or building their own business. I don't know what it's like in the States. A lot of us would be called sole proprietors, meaning, actually, sorry, I don't want to get into legal jargon because I'm not like a consultant in that area. I'm just here to help you get paid. So if you are a model, photographer, music stuff, I don't know, social media contractor, there's so many things. If you are on your hustle and it's now time for you to get paid, you're going to need to send an invoice. I would strongly recommend sending an invoice. Some people will pay you without one. It's not really great for bookkeeping purposes for yourself. It's good to have a paper trail and a very clear record. You can also save those as you go in a Google folder and track them in a spreadsheet so that you're all good to go for tax season, but that's a conversation for another time. So when you're sending an invoice, you are going to want to make an actual document. So this has come up a lot in conversations over the years. An invoice is not an email or a text or some sort of communication saying that you want to get paid. An invoice is a physical, actual document. So you're going to attach the invoice to the email that you're sending to get paid. A lot of people have automated systems or have signed up for certain subscriptions where they have invoices that are really nice to use on the client side of things. But if you're just getting started, or if this is new to you, or you're kind of just doing like one-off stuff here and there, you probably don't need that. You can just make a document. So Oh, and I guess I'll just say, for those who don't know, or if this is the first video you're seeing from me, the reason I make these is, one, we love to see you win. Two, I've had quite a lot of experience with hundreds of individuals over the years, being kind of on both sides. One, I am a creative and service provider and artist myself, so I've been in the position of sending invoices or dealing with some of the other stuff in my videos. And then on the other side, I've also been in the position of booking or producing something or working with a company who's hiring people, subcontracting, etc. So this is just straight off of my experience. I'm not a licensed financial advisor. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an accountant. I am none of that. So this is just my experience. Hopefully it's helpful. And as always, if you find this helpful, please save it using the save feature, or send it or comment or something. If this is not helpful to people, I will not make these, which is totally fine. But again, I'm doing it to spread knowledge and hopefully support. So what an invoice is in the first place is, invoices typically look like this. Like I said, it's a document. It's nice to, I think it can be nice to add a little bit of color, or they can be pretty bland. The purpose is to get you your money. So in Google Sheets, in Google Templates, there's actually a template for an invoice right here. It says invoice. If you click on it, everything's pretty much set up for you. You might need to add some formulas and stuff, depending on your country and your needs of your specific invoice. But I have modified this one for the example that I'm going to use in this video. So this is an invoice template. I'm just going to go over the items that you need to include. It's going to be a little bit different for everybody. So firstly, you want to include your full name. So whatever your full name is, this is not my legal name. Make sure you use your legal name. So using your legal name here, whatever the government thinks of you as, because at the end of the day, this is your paperwork showing that you're in order and that you're not basically, like, there was a story many years ago, dance teachers, that's another one. You don't necessarily need invoices as much, but if you're doing any side hustles, like legally, you should be recording them and reporting them in your taxes. So a lot of times, like people with side hustles, a lot of us didn't necessarily know that, or we didn't think it was that big of a deal, but you definitely should, because you can get in a lot of tax trouble for not doing that. So this is really helpful to keep a paper trail for yourself if you ever get audited. So for GST numbers, not everybody's going to need this. This is just a random number that I put in there. I don't know what it's like in the States. In Canada, I'm pretty sure it's if you're making more than $30,000 in your business. Again, I'm not an accountant. Please look into that part. I'm not really here for that part. I'm just to say how to make an invoice. So if you have a GST number, it's a good practice to put it on there. Putting your phone number, putting your email address, saying what this document is. It's an invoice. This is something that can be helpful to keep organized in your own system. So let's say you're doing a shoot for a company called Big Vision Productions. You could put BVP. This is the first time you're sending them an invoice. So you're putting 1, and then you're going to put your initials. This is more so for yourself internally to help you keep track in some systems. It can be helpful. Then you're going to put the date. You're going to say what exactly were they contracted for. With all of these videos I make, I'm like, a lot of it is trying to get people to see that like people don't care. On the other side of receiving a lot of these things, people have so much going on. So the easier that you can make it for them to be clear of who exactly this is. And sometimes when you're sending invoices, the person who's responsible for paying it might work in a different department or might be an accountant that this small business person has contracted to pay you. So it really needs to be clear when someone's reading this. If they never had a conversation with the person that hired you or that brought you into the project, this document should make it really clear for whoever's processing your payment. So saying specifically what you did. So for example, day model for a photo shoot, and then attention to whoever is in charge of getting you paid. So that can differentiate. Sometimes people will tell you specifically who that is. And then sometimes they'll just like, you'll know who it is if it's like a direct client or business owner or something. Put the company name. If the company has a GST number, again, this is Canada. I'm not fully sure how it works in the States, but you could put that on here for good practice. It's not necessary, but you could put it there. Again, saying like if it was a specific, oh, sorry, this is not the exact same example, but saying what the project is, describing it. So fashion model for, let's say you did a shoot for a company called Jeremiah Ice Cream. So you were brought in by Big Vision Productions for a shoot for Jeremiah Ice Cream. Let's say you're charging $1,000, you're fee for service. If you are required to charge GST, again, you know that. I don't know that for you. You need to look into that for yourself. You could put the GST number here. So I have a formula here. So it would say like 0.05. So that's 5% times C23, which is this column. So 5% of the base fee, that's going to be the GST. Let's say you had some expenses that you needed reimbursed that you've previously agreed upon with your client in whatever agreement that you have, which is a whole nother conversation. But this is more so maybe going to be for like, probably not as much for this exact example, but like if you're doing event coordination or something, right? And maybe there's some expenses that the client didn't directly cover that you were grabbing because it was easier or something like that. So any expenses that you've agreed upon, that could go here. These are all arbitrary numbers. These are just random examples, so don't take the numbers seriously. You're going to put the due date of the invoice. When have you agreed on payment to be made? Is it 30 days after, 10 days, day of? I don't know. Whatever you've agreed on should be clear here. Again, making sure you have that agreement before. The amount of scenarios I've heard where people are not, like the expectations are not clear on, the client thought it was A, person thought it was B. Just be really clear on that. Specify how you want to be paid and how you've agreed upon. Is it direct deposit, PayPal, e-transfer, whatever? I recommend putting some sort of penalty for late payments and making sure that clearly that's aware. If you do have an automatic invoice system, it's a little bit smoother because that system will follow up for you. But again, if you're just getting started or if you're just doing kind of one-off stuff, you probably don't have that or maybe don't need that. So just making that clear here. Again, these are all arbitrary numbers. So this total amount here is a total of all these columns. So if you're not familiar with spreadsheet formulas, you can do some Googling. Also, I think the template has some of them in it, the one on Google, but that would be the total amount. So the base fee, the amount of taxes that were charged, if that is required, and you will need to give this to the government because that's what you're charging it for. And then the reimbursement of any expenses, this would be the total amount. Make sure you're specifying the, sorry, I'm blanking, ¿cómo se llama? The denomination? I'm really blanking on words right now for some reason. The currency, sorry, the currency that you want. So this is Canadian dollars, US dollars, really important. Also being clear on those expectations beforehand as well. And yeah, if there are any expenses that you're invoicing for whatever reason, again, those should probably be approved beforehand. Make sure you have the receipts in a separate folder, etc. So that would be the total, maybe a nice message at the bottom there. And that's an invoice. So then you would save this as a PDF document and send it in an email to the person. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be a part of this shoot. Please find attached my invoice, something like that. So yeah, thanks for watching. Again, if it's helpful, save it, send it, comment, let me know something so that I know which sort of content is helpful to you guys. I know that some of you are very experienced in this and don't need this, and there's a lot of people that aren't. So hopefully this is helpful. And again, I'm not a licensed financial advisor, accountant, or anything like that. I'm just a girl with an invoice. Okay, I'm just a girl who's sent and received and coordinated a lot of invoices over the years. And yeah, this is a song by Steege called Kendall Slide. Check it out. Have an amazing day. Oh, and shout out to this, which I was wearing today. I'll tag them in the comments too. All right. Wow, the timing. Did you guys see that? Okay, hope you have an amazing day. Bye. Kendall Slide, Kendall Slide, Kendall Slide, Kendall Slide, Kendall try, Kendall try.